My name is Aisha Mballo, and I am 40, almost 41 years old. I was born with bilateral club feet in Senegal, and I grew up walking with my feet for the first 16 years of my life until I had the opportunity to go to the US and have surgeries. When I was first born, they noticed that my feet were completely backward. Um, but unfortunately, being in Senegal, West Africa, a country with limited medical access, there was really nothing that was said to initiate some kind of treatment process. Though my parents tried, I think they felt guilty. They tried to do everything they could to change my life, to give me a better opportunity to have treatment so that I would be more accepted in society. I mean, today there are things like pansari methods or casting, but I think that knowledge and access wasn't available back then. And so that motivated me to to look for other options. And back in 90s, there were no internet. And being that I had the opportunity again that was different from most children, I went to school. So my parents educated me and treated me just like my other siblings. There were no other children that had club feet or any other form of disability around my school. So I became very studious and a teacher's pet. And when I heard about opportunities of other NGOs coming to Senegal or my little hometown of Sébikotane to sponsor children to help them with education and perhaps medical needs, I said, I need medical need. I have medical condition. I need help. So basically volunteered myself, and I understood that for any change to happen to my feet, it would have to be outside of Senegal. And so it became my mission to find a sponsor through these programs, through these NGOs. And that's when I found a sponsor. I had a match in the US, and that's where I got connected with my host family. And that was all just through pushing and I thinking about it, I'm like, I'm not sure how I did it, but I knew it was an action that I had to take myself in order for something to happen. My first arrival in the US, my initial thought, first of all, was because I went from Senegal in December, never seen snow or winter. I arrived in Minnesota. The shocking part was the intensity of the cold to my feet because I could not wear shoes. That basically protected me from the snow. So that was a challenge immediately. So yeah, I think I went numb immediately from the snow and just everything else. Immediately, I had to transition from being a child into an adult that's making decision hand in hand with my legal guardians. And initially, for me, it was more like my dream is becoming true. This is a miracle. And I didn't have any expectations that I could visualize because I didn't know what the process would entail. So I was just like, I'm excited, I'm here, this is happening, let's wait and see what's gonna happen. My experience for Senegalese healthcare was different. I would say, I don't want to use the word non-existent, but it was limited and challenging. Many people are sometimes struggling just to put food on the table. And we have a healthcare system where if you don't have money, you're left out. And I think that's completely unfair. And that explains the reason why we have so many people out on the streets crawling and unable to even think about going to a hospital. You know, people always say the United States doesn't have national health care, but at the same time, there is health care available when you seek it. And people generally know about it because it's information sharing. People talk about it, they share, it's on advertisement. So even if you don't have money, the poorest person in the US has access to health care. There are lots of challenges that exist for children with club feet or any other disabilities here in Senegal especially. I recently come back to Senegal about a year ago, and just walking around the streets and just looking around from what I see, one, there is the mobility challenge, because I've only seen thus far one child who reminded me of my old self, had both feet turned around, probably around age 12, and was walking with them. And I just immediately say, that's me. And I recognized myself in him. And suddenly I felt empathetic. It's like sad, like this child thinks there's no hope. He's never going to change. There's nothing that's ever going to be to change his feet. And they learn to accept that, I think, very early on. And I think that's what hurts me a lot. I'm not gonna get emotional, is my situation was different because I wanted something done. The other challenge that children face, whether with club feet or disability, is stigma and acceptance in society. So having a family that has a child with club feet and them knowing nothing's going to happen to them immediately is, this child is not going to become something productive, like a productive member of society. So most of the time they become a street child, kicked out of the house, or they're hidden. But until we all accept people with physical disability are human beings, it's just their feet look different, or maybe they walk a little differently. So we need to treat them just like everyone else. Because when you are out there and everybody's looking at you, judging you, and thinking of you less than a human being, it makes you crawl back into that hole. And then the hope that you have no future. You cannot become, a director. You cannot become a president, or you can't become, an astronaut. That's not okay. And I think we need to change that. I'm wanting, leaders and the world to just see and understand is, next time you go out and you see someone walking with crutches or in a wheelchair, just say, hello, how are you? How is your day? When we do that as adults, the little children see that and they imitate it. I would say that today I am the person that I am because of clubfoot. It's made me more aware of my environment and people around me. It's also given me the opportunity to realize and accept that my situation is completely different than probably 100% of other children, because not everyone has that chance that I did. To be extracted out of Africa and go to another country that has a completely different healthcare system and receive treatment. But to see children today who have this disability, that's so painful to watch, because with the exception of someone who was actually walking, the majority are crawling on their knees. They are using maybe one crutch, but just the fact that they have no hope, the realization that something can be done to change it is just so limited and non-existent. That has to change. This is 2021. And I think overall we can start slowly in making that change.